I want to share with you something I learned the hard way. When I painted the house, I would just write on the lid what room. On this one I wrote it here, but I also did write it on all the lids, or the front. Let's see. This one says foyer, family room, girls' room. Let's see. Oh, that one didn't have it on the front. Anyway, they all have written on them, but you can see once you close them, they get rusty, and if you can see inside, this one has, lift it up and try not to spill. It's got now rust in it. I could mix it up and I still have some paint in there, but the other rooms are all hard. That one's absolutely rock. This one's rock. This one's a colored rock. It's like turned brown and cracked. It's hard though, absolutely hard. And this one's really pasty. You can see I can still get some out. I probably will pull a few pieces out and put it in a container, which is what I want to show you. Anyway, so I've wasted all of that touch-up paint from the different rooms, and after a little while I figured out why store that whole big can on the shelf with just that little bit of paint in it. Now, if I had done what I do now back then, I would not have ruined all that paint. So what I learned to do was I would take a little bit and put it in a container that was airtight. And so this says main bedroom, upstairs, east wall, and the hallway. The first thing I did was actually just put it in these little film containers. Can you see that color? And then I would just have that in the cupboard in the kitchen, because this was an area in a hallway that would get scraped all the time. But then I realized if there was just a little bit of paint left, I could stick it in a Tupperware or something and it would stay moist, and then I could just shake it to get it to a point where I could actually use it. So I didn't shake this one so that I could show you. This one's the downstairs hallway, south wall, family room. So you can see it's got a green line through it. The lighting is so bad in here. There we go. You can kind of see it's got a green line. So this has been, I have not painted any walls in my house in about 3 or 4 years. You can hear it's still liquid. I'm not left-handed. Use right hand. Shake it, and you can see it's already mixing. That green bluish is gone. And I can just carry it around with me if I need a brush, touch-up paint, or I can just open it and dab it with my fingers. And I'll show you how I do that in the other room. Anyway, so it's much easier to store. It's a lot smaller. It's easier to see the color. It's easier to see how much I have. And it's easier to mix. And look at all the space wasted, and all that paint is wasted because it's all rusty. There's chunks falling in it. It's now hard. So I've been storing these cans for 5 years or so, and they're useless. So, but these I've been stored at least 3, more like 4 and 5 years, and they're still liquid. I can still use them. You can hear it. I'm shaking it up. Break the camera. Shoot. Anyway, and all different sizes of containers, so whatever amount of paint you have left, you can use. Now, these are Kool-Aid or Gatorade drink mix containers. I find that they seal really well and maintain the moisture. Some of the other containers with just a flip lid, you would have to worry. This was actually a container you would get at a paint store. But for the little touch-up jobs, I really do like these little smaller containers. I do have to say that the film container did dry out. You can kind of see through there. I'm just going to show you what I did today. That's what brought this all on. Turn the light on and see if you can see. Okay, so for Halloween, I hung up a little decoration there, and it still looks a little damp there. So you can see the hole, and there was a little scratch right there. And for that, let me see if I can turn the other light on. That'll help. It didn't help much. But anyway, you can see, let's see, it's better in the shade there. You can see that I just opened the container, took my finger. I don't want to drop the lid because I'm doing this, but so I just took the container. You can see it's kind of thick, but it still worked. I just dabbed my finger in it, and then I just dabbed it right on the spot right there. And the one over here was right there, and you can't even see it. I filled up the hole pretty well on that one. It didn't get chipped like the other one, though. I have had this for at least 5 years in here, and you can see it's getting a little thick, but that's why I suggest the Tupperware over that container. But then I just walk around, and I've had to do it here several times on this burgundy. I had some guitars sitting here, and they would chip. Let's see, there's one right there, you can see. And I just keep it in these little containers, dab it on my finger, and then just touch it to the spot. I also have some spots over here. Let's see, I can get some lights on. These ones are a little bit darker. I think you can see that it's darker. I think I took the wrong paint. This was my bedroom paint, and this was living room paint, but you could see in there that the living room paint was really thick and gross, so I think I just took my burgundy from my bedroom and put it there. But still, unless you were looking for those spots, you wouldn't really see them. But the problem was I didn't put the living room paint in one of these. I put it in, I did it after that. I started doing it after that. That's why the one over here is, the one I have over here is all rusty and gross. See, foyer right here, the foyer. And it's all rusty and gross, and it wasn't easy access, and that's why that color is different. But what I'll probably do right now is just mix that up and go over that spot where it's darker and see if I can match it a little bit better now that I've got the paint out. So what I will do is I will mix that up, put some of it in a smaller container and keep it. Now all these other ones I'll throw out, but I will probably grab a little bit of this and put it in a little Tupperware. These little Play-Doh containers have been great. They're airtight, usually pretty airtight, and they work pretty well. Like I said, the film containers have lasted 5 years, so that's not bad. But my favorite is definitely by far Tupperware. They are absolutely airtight. It's great. It's wonderful. And then for a larger amount, I really like these ones. I've tried different kinds, but these Weiler Gatorade type containers work really well. Like I said, these are quite a few years old, and you can hear there's no rust, there's no issues with the lid, and it's very clear what's inside, and if you label them correctly, you're all set. Anyway, hopefully that was helpful.